people who are attending this. That's the reason, we are, what you can say, we have kept it into host and panelists. Are you understanding? Okay. So don't worry, you are all the chats we are able to read. Please do comment and ask your questions and queries if you have. Clear hai, everybody? Yeah. Now coming back to sigma. Sigma is a Greek letter, which is basically is a measure of variability or variation. Let's make it very simple. Variation. Sigma is a measure of variation. Now, what do you mean by sigma? Why variation is important? Write this down. More variation, more the rejections and defect. Write this down. More the variation, more the rejection and defect. How? I will explain you. More the variation, more will be the rejection and defects. So if you want to reduce the rejection, you have to reduce the variation. Now, what is variation? That's the fundamental question. What is variation? Let me give you a simple example. Let's say 9 o'clock is your office timing. You have to reach at 9 o'clock every day. But do we reach exactly at 9:00 every day? Type in chat box, everybody. Do we reach? No, right? Sir, I reach always 5 minutes early. But do you reach exactly 9:00 every day? 5 minutes early is also variation. Correct? Yes or no? Correct? So 5 minutes early, 5 minutes late, 10 minutes early, 10 minutes late. There is a variation. Can you see this? Okay. Why we can't reach? Because there are so many reasons. We will come to that. But the matter of the fact is, we do not reach and we cannot reach exactly at 9:00 without variation, without deviation. And that variation is measured by sigma. In statistics, it is called as standard deviation. Make a note of this. Standard deviation, which is denoted by sigma, the symbol sigma like this. Clear hai? So sigma is a measure of variation. In statistics, it's called standard deviation. It measures the variability of the process. Now then, what is Six Sigma? So sigma is clear, which is a measure of variation. What is Six Sigma then? Six Sigma is a universal complex problem solving methodology which follows 5-stage approach called DMAIC. I'll break this down one by one. Universal meaning applicable in every industry universally. It's not applicable to a specific industry. Universal. Okay. Complex problem. Complex meaning, as I have shown you the list of the challenges in the first slide, right? These are called complex problems. They are chronic in nature. They are repetitive in nature. You don't know the solution. You don't know the causes. That is called complex problem. For example, do you have any quality defect which comes back again and again and again? Do you have any customer complaint which comes back again and again and again? Do you have any machine which breaks down again and again and again? Do you have this? Just type yes or no in the chat box. Do you have this kind of challenge which is repetitive in nature? And your lot of resources, lot of time goes in solving the problem again and again. It's a symptom of a complex problem. Understand this? Are you understanding why you are not able to, what you can say, get over that problem permanently? Because it's called a complex problem. Okay. So universal complex problem solving methodology, which follows 5-stage approach called DMAIC. Everybody, please type DMAIC in the chat box. DMAIC. Everybody. So DMAIC stands for DMAC. We call it as DMAC. D for define, M for measure, A for analyze, I for improve, and C for control. Just make a note of this full form of DMAC. Define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. DMAIC, which we are going to learn in this 4-hour session. Okay? DMAIC. So it's a universal complex problem solving methodology which follows DMAIC. It's a rigorous performance improvement approach. As I mentioned earlier, it's rigorous, it's continuous, it's not one time. It's a customer focused. It focuses on the requirement of the customer, requirement of QCDS, quality, cost, delivery and service. Okay, it is data driven. It is driven by the data, not by the opinion. Let me give you a classic example of to prove this point. Sachin Tendulkar, whenever Sachin Tendulkar makes the century in one-day cricket, India loses the game. How many of you have heard this saying before? कितने कितने सुना है ये? Just type me in the chat box. कितने सुना है? Whenever Sachin Tendulkar makes the century, India loses the game. The people in their 30s and 40s definitely would have heard this at least once. Yes or no? Correct? What is the fact? Out of 49 centuries, a long-standing record which Virat Kohli, broke last year, only 12 matches Indian cricket team lost. Out of 49 centuries he has made, 12 times, 12 times, Indian cricket team lost the match. Can you say whenever Sachin makes a century, India loses the game? Can you say that? Can you say that? No, the matter of the fact, the data does not support your opinion. If this would have been opposite, only 12 victories out of 49, then I would have said yes. बात में कुछ दम है. Yes or no? Let me give you another stat. Let me give you another stat. This is Sachin Tendulkar. Whose stat this could be? Type in the chat box. Now, जिसको cricket पता है उसको मालूम है what I'm talking about. 50 out of 10. 10 out of 50, not 10 out of 50. Whose stat this could be? Exactly. This is Virat Kohli's stat. Virat Kohli broke Sachin's record last year World Cup. Right? You remember? And Virat Kohli's stat says he has made 50 centuries, out of which 10 matches Indian cricket team lost. But we never heard that whenever Virat makes a century, India loses the game. See, there is not much difference in both these great players' stats. But for one, there is an opinion, and for the second, there is no opinion. Understand this? So we are basically, here we believe in data, not मुझे ऐसे लगता है. Understand this? मेरे हिसाब से, no, मेरे हिसाब से नहीं चलता. We are only believing in data, the facts. Okay? And the technique which I just explained in a simplistic manner is called hypothesis testing. Write this down. Hypothesis testing. What is hypothesis? Sachin makes the century, India loses the game, is a hypothesis, is an assumption. And that assumption was proven to be wrong with the data. And that is called hypothesis testing. Are you clear? Okay. So, of course, in our green belt, black belt, and master black belt, we teach the basic and the advanced level of hypothesis. We are not going to cover hypothesis, but this is the meaning of hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but checking the hypothesis with a fact, testing it with a fact, whether it is proven to be right or wrong. Okay. Are you understanding where I'm coming from? Just type yes in the chat box. Take the screenshot of this. I want to explain it further. I want to explain it further. Just take a screenshot if you are taking the screenshot, because I am going to wipe it off. I want to write something else as well. Okay. On the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. Thank you very much. I'm just clearing this. Okay. Now coming back to the next one. So data driven tak hum log ne dekha. Then it understands the process variation and it reduces the defect. Let's understand this. Yes, null and alternative. Absolutely right, Praveenji. You know this. Okay, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. Absolutely right. Okay. Anyways, coming back to process variation and defect. Let's come back with the same example of 9 o'clock. Now, when I asked the question, do we reach exactly at 9.00? Everybody said no. Somebody said yes, because they were reaching a little early. Little early is also variation, a deviation. Understand this? Okay. Now, according to you, give me the 2 biggest reasons why you cannot reach at 9.00 exactly every day. Don't give me traffic as the reason. Traffic ko chhodkar, give me any other reason. Type in the chat box quickly. So let me see. Just give me 2 reasons. According to you, what are the 2 biggest reasons for you why you cannot reach exactly at 9.00 every day? Type in the chat box quickly. Okay, you wake up late, poor time management, personal work, daily schedule, lack of motivation, food. Traffic ko chhod do filhal ke liye. Traffic is currently out of our control right now. Okay. Train, okay. Human limitation, time contingency. My boss is too nice. Very good. Wife, Okay. Make sure your wife is not reading this. Laziness, cab delay. Okay. Fantastic. Now understand this. Write this down. Y is equal to function of X. Write this down. Write this down. Y is equal to function of X. What is Y? Y is the output and X is the input. Y is the output and X is the input. Y is your office reaching time and X is nothing but whatever you have listed. Your wake up time, your preparation time, your motivation level, etc., etc. All these are factors. Okay. So your output, your office reaching time is a function, is depending on all your inputs, your wake up time, your preparation time, your motivation, your boss, your wife, whatever it is. Are you understanding? Now, if you want to improve, if you want to influence your output, you have to reduce the variation of your input variable. If you want to reduce the variation of output variable, you have to reduce the output of the, variation of the input variable. For example, let's look at this. This is, let's say 9 o'clock. Let's say this, my hand is 9 o'clock, your target. Okay. Earlier, you were coming between 8:30 to 9:30. Between 8:30 to 9:30. There is a huge, what you can say, variation. Okay. Now, we want to reduce the variation. Okay. And after reduction, it will be like 8:55 to 9:05. 8:55 to 9:05. Are you understanding the difference? Earlier, the variation was 8:30 to 9:30. Huge variation. Now it will be 8:55 to 9:05. Are you clear this? Are you clear with this? Just like yes in the chat box. समझ में आ रहा है ये? The variation we have to reduce. Because more variation, more rejection. Remember this. More variation, more rejection. Let me prove this point to you. Clear here? Now, so how do we do that? By reducing the variation of input variable. For example, let's say your wake up time, there is a variation. Sometimes you wake up at 6 o'clock, sometimes 6:30, sometimes 7 o'clock. So there is a variation in wake up. So you will reduce the variability. We'll reduce the variability of that. Let's say your preparation time. Sometimes you prepare in half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 1 hour. So we'll reduce the variation of that. So by reducing variation of each and every factor, we will reduce the output variation. Okay. So look at this. So have you seen this kind of diagram? Yes. Have you seen this kind of diagram? Yes, everybody, which is shown over here. Yes. What is this? What is this called as? क्या कहते हैं इसको? This kind of diagram. Yes. Bell-shaped curve. Yes. Normal distribution curve. Exactly. Very good. What else? Yes. And it's coming out from something called histogram. आपने histogram देखा है कभी? Histogram, it looks like this. And we are going to learn histogram, by the way. Yes. Histogram. Correct? Histogram. Gram is graph, histo meaning historical. The graphical representation of historical data is called histogram. So from histogram comes the this kind of bell-shaped curve. Now, understand this. Wider the bell-shaped curve like this, okay, wider is the bell-shaped curve, more is the variation, and smaller is the bell-shaped curve, lesser is the variation. Have you understood this? So more the variation, your bell-shaped curve will be more, be wider, and less the variation, your bell-shaped curve will be less. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. Super clear. Okay. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat. Super. Yeah. So look at this diagram now. This red or pink, whatever color you are observing, this is before improvement. It was very wide bell-shaped curve, 8:30 to 9:30. You remember that? 8:30 to 9:30. And this one, this yellow bell-shaped curve represents after improvement. So before and after. Okay, after is very close to the target and very less variation. See, we cannot eliminate variation because variation is the nature of nature. It's an integral part of the nature. You cannot eliminate variation from the system, but we can reduce the variation for sure. That is what we are going to do. Okay. Yes. So right now, let's look at this. So this is the before and the yellow one is the after one. So let's look at this 9 o'clock as a target, the dotted line in the center. Okay. Now, every organization has something called a cutoff time. let's say in this case, 9:30. Do you have this kind of cutoff time that after you come after, this time, it will be a late mark? Do you have similar kind of system in your company? Just type yes in the chat box or no in the chat box. Yes. Yeah, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Yes, everybody has this, correct? Now, this is called a specification limit. A specification limit. Look at this. Okay. So, because they know that there will be a variation coming, and for that, to accommodate that variation, they have given some specification limit and a cutoff time, and this is called specification limit. So this specification limit, if you come after that, let's say you reach at 9:35, it is called as late mark in your office, but in Six Sigma, it is called as a defect. Defect. Any data which falls beyond specification limit is defect. Any data which falls beyond specification limit is defect. Are you clear? Now 30 minutes or free pizza delivery, right? Domino Pizza or some other pizza brand, they have this brand, right? 30 minutes or free. What is that? That is cut-off time. That is a specification limit. If the delivery boy delivers after 30 minutes, it's a defect. Are you clear? So anything which falls beyond specification is a defect. Now, so by reducing the defect, understand this. By reducing the defect, we are bringing the entire process within, very close to the center. Okay, as variation will reduce, the process will come in the center and probability of making defect will reduce. How much? 3.4 defects in a million. What does it mean? It means if I deliver 1 million pizza, out of which only 3 pizzas were late by 30 minutes, late than 30 minutes, then it is called a Six Sigma level of performance. Only 3 pizza delivery late in 1 million, 10 lakh pizza मैंने अगर deliver किए, उसमें सिर्फ 3 pizza मैंने late deliver किए, it is called a Six Sigma level of performance. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. So what Six Sigma does? Six Sigma reduces the variation and reduces the defects. Okay, everybody knows about NASA, American Space Agency, NASA. Everybody knows this, yes? How many of you are aware of Mumbai Dabbawala? Mumbai Dabbawala case. Have you heard about Mumbai Dabbawala? Yes. Yes. Now, NASA, why I'm mentioning NASA, there are so many processes which are beyond Six Sigma level. And Mumbai Dabbawala, now NASA is technologically very advanced organization. And on the contrary, Mumbai Dabbawala, there are illiterate people, they are not having any technology, only with a very small coding language, which they write on the tiffin. Dabbawala meaning Dabba is a tiffin. It's a Mumbai Tiffin Services, which they have the record of holding the Six Sigma level of performance. They don't make any mistake in that. They never give your tiffin late from your home to your office and office back to home. Okay, there is no delay and there is no swapping. Swapping meaning your tiffin going to my place and my tiffin going to your place. That swapping also does not happen. So there is no defect, what I can say, delivery, which this Mumbai Dabbawala are doing. If you are not aware of this, I will highly recommend, to search about the case study of Mumbai Dabbawala Six Sigma. Okay, you can Google it out and you will find out a lot of interesting fact about it. Okay, are you clear about this? Now, let me just show you a table which will even clarify this further. Look at this. It's a standard table which is showing this, that if you are making 3.4 defects in a million, look at this, 3.4 defects in a million, it is called Six Sigma level. If you are making 230 defects in a million is 10 lakhs, okay? It is a 5 Sigma level. If you are making 6,200 defects, it's a 4 Sigma level. If you're making 66,000 defects, it is a 3 Sigma and so on and so forth. Majority of the processes are hovering around this 3 to 4 Sigma right now globally. So there is huge scope for improvement. Okay, it's a standard table. You can take a screenshot of this. Clear? Are you clear about this Six Sigma part? Just type yes in the chat box. So Six Sigma in a nutshell, it's a process which improves the, reduces the defects, reduces the variation. Okay, and 3.4 is the Six Sigma level of performance. Are you clear? Yes, in the chat box. Super. And so Six Sigma was originated in Motorola in 1980s, mid 1980s. Since then, globally, it is basically used. Okay. Now let's talk about lean a little. Okay.